What's up, Switch? I missed you this summer. How's everybody doing out there? All right. I had a big summer. Now, I don't want to brag, and I don't want this to be too big, but I want to let you know, Coca-Cola has decided to put my name on their Coke cans. Anybody else in on that game? You getting your names on the Coke cans? Now, how many of you have bought a Coke with your name on it and you have drank it already? Anybody do that this summer? All right, some of you have done that. Fantastic. There's a picture of my name, my family's name with that on there. Tonight, though, I don't want to talk about Coca-Cola and names on the Coke cans. I want to talk about some names that we know from history. I want to talk about names of inventors. I want to talk about the names of people who took a stand for something big and did something incredible. I want to talk about people who excelled so much that these individuals changed the game. They changed the game in the fact of how the rules are played. They changed the way that we treat other people. They changed the game and they affect the way we live. Now, an example would be a 13-year-old girl. This 13-year-old girl got a diary, and she started to write down all the things that were going on in her life and in the world that she lived in her community. And now her diary, the diary of Anne Frank, has changed the face of literature, and it defines a culture in our history. Another name I think of is Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson broke the racial barrier in Major League Baseball. And because of his character, because of his impact, not only did he change the face of sports, he changed the face of our community. They're game changers. But here's my question for you. The people who are closest to you, would they say that you are a game changer? Now, don't answer out loud. I want you to just process that inside. The people you're closest to, would they describe you as a game changer? And if not, why not? Let me ask a different question. And this time we're going to have a little participation. Be honest, and if this is you at all of our campuses, if this is you, raise your hand. You would describe yourself as a game changer. Just raise your hand and say, I'm a game changer. Okay? There's some of you who are shooting your hands up. There's others of you going, no. Other people are raising your hand. Okay, good. There are some. Now, if this would have been me in junior high, I would not have raised my hand. And the reason I wouldn't have raised my hand is because I did not believe that was true of me. And some of you can relate. And let me give you one reason. It's not the only reason, but let me give you one reason that many of us believe that we are not game changers. It's going to pop right here up on the screen. Who can tell me what this is? Hashtag. You are so smart. Now, if you're not familiar with hashtag and social media world, here's what a hashtag does. A hashtag labels things. So this summer, I went camping with my boys. I don't like to camp, but I love my boys, and they like to camp. So we went camping, and here are some pictures, and I've put some hashtags on the pictures. First picture is going to be here. Hashtag, there's my tent, there's the lake. This is hashtag camping. Next picture, hashtag hot dogs. Now, you see 3 hot dogs on a stick. What you don't see is the 7 hot dogs that are in the fire because they fell off the stick. That's how we roll. Next picture here, this is hashtag glow sticks. My kids think that I give them glow sticks so that they have lights. I give my kids glow sticks so if they run away, I can find them. Okay, that's why my kids have glow sticks. Next hashtag, probably my favorite part of camping, s'mores. If there's no s'mores, I'm not camping. That is my rule. Now, the next slide, this is the worst part about camping. Hashtag poison ivy. This is my son, Titus. Now, I actually got poison ivy too, but I'm not going to put my picture up there because it would be scary and you would probably throw up. All right, so just know that is how hashtags work. But I thought to myself, you know what? These are some of the smartest junior hires in the entire world. I wonder what they would do if we played a hashtag game and I put pictures on the screen and let them come up with the hashtag. Now, I know this could be a train wreck, but I know you're very smart, very wise, and you'll do a great job. So here we go. We're going to play the hashtag game. This is rated E for everyone. It's rated G as far as language. We're going to put a picture up, and I want you to tell the people around you what your hashtag would be. Here we go. First picture. All right, hashtag Avenger. Good. Next picture. Here we go. All right, yeah. Hashtag groove on. Next picture. Here we go. Woo! Hashtag tic tac. Next picture. Hashtag. All right, good. So you guys did a fantastic job. Now, here's what we just learned. I could put a picture on a screen, and within seconds, you could hashtag, you could label the picture. And here's why. We are good at hashtagging or labeling things. Now, there's another side of this. Because we hashtag, we also get hashtag, right? People label us. People give us hashtags, and sometimes those hashtags affect us. I remember in junior high, one of the hashtags I got was the hashtag unattractive. Now, part of that is when you are chubby, when you have acne, and when your parents put you in spandex shorts, that's never a good combination. That is a train wreck waiting to happen. If there was they talk about getting hit by an ugly stick. I fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. I was unattractive, and I knew it. I wanted to be good looking, but for whatever reason, I wasn't that guy at that point. Another word that comes back that stills my mind is hashtag B team. Now, when I was in junior high, I wanted to be a professional athlete. And I didn't care what sport, so I did all of them. And in every sport, I was B team. But basketball was the one that I was the best on the B team. And I remember one game in particular, I think I had 4 points, which was a career high for me. And I remember finding the coach saying, Coach, am I going to be on A team next week? You see, A team's where all of my friends played. A team is where you got your status. And that day, when I said, Coach, you're going to be on B team, I'll never forget the words he said to me. Even though I was in 8th grade, here's what he said. Jeremy, you will always be on the B team. Now, I can still hear his voice. I can still see his face. I can still hear the tone in which he said it. And that hashtag has stuck with me. And here's what I know for some of you. People have hashtagged you. They've said something about you, and you've believed what they said. Maybe a teacher, maybe a parent called you hashtag stupid. Because they set the standard, you've not pushed yourself, said, I'm just going to live up to what they've called me. Or maybe somebody gave you hashtag not accepted. And you've just sort of done your own thing. You've acted out. You've tried to get people's attention because you just want to be accepted. You even said, I'll even hang with the wrong people if I have to, because I would rather be accepted by the wrong crowd than to be alone. Or maybe your hashtag was drama. Okay, if we give you that hashtag, it just means you're being annoying and we want you to stop. Okay, so if you're drama, please knock that off. But here's the thing about hashtags. If we believe those hashtags, it affects us. Here's how I would put it. What we believe determines who we become. What we believe determines who we become. And what I want to do is I want to look at a story in the Bible real quick of this woman who heard a hashtag, and not only did she hear a hashtag, her hashtags were broadcasted out to a big crowd. So if you have a Bible, turn to John chapter 8. John chapter 8, and we're going to start in verse number 2. Here we go. It says, but early the next morning, Jesus was back again at the temple. Temple's like the church. So Jesus at the temple, and there's a big crowd sort of circling around Jesus, and he's talking to him. He goes, as he was speaking, the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. All right, for those who aren't familiar with what the word adultery means, basically the word adultery means that they were doing the horizontal hokey pokey and they weren't married. Okay, so this girl and this guy are doing something, and for some reason they've captured this girl and they brought her here, and now she is standing in a circle with Jesus, with these religious leaders, and just in case you don't know, Jesus and religious people didn't get along at this time, and they're trying to trick Jesus. So the story keeps going. It says, hey, Jesus, the law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? Now picture this girl. For whatever reason, she's been caught, she's been brought, she's now in this crowd, and there are all kinds of hashtags being thought or said about her. There's those who have a lot of empathy, and they're saying, oh, hashtag poor girl, hashtag that's too bad, hashtag that was stupid. But on the other side of the fence, there are those saying, hashtag whore, hashtag marriage wrecker, hashtag a whole bunch of bad things. And they went so far to say, hashtag this woman is unfit to live. Hashtag this woman should die. How does Jesus respond? So once again, they kept demanding an answer. So he stood up again and said, all right. Well, did you catch that? Hey, Jesus, this woman's supposed to die. She's messed up. What do you think we should do? Can we kill her? And Jesus says, all right. And I'm sure that her heart fell into her stomach, but then he kept going. He says, but let the one who has never sinned cast the first stone. Hey, the person out there who has no hashtags, the person out there who is not messed up, hey, the person out there who is doing everything right, you can kill this person, but you have to, the first person, the one who's not sinned, you are the one who has to cast the first stone. And then the story says that Jesus started drawing in the dirt again. Check out what happens. It says, when the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? No, Lord, she said. And Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. Neither do I. You see, there was something happened in the story that Jesus understood about hashtags that we need to understand. And here's what I want you to understand. There are only two people who have the right to label something. The first one is the creator. Think about it. If Nike creates a shoe, they can put their label on it. If Nike creates a shirt, they can put a label on it. If Apple makes a computer, they can put an Apple on it. Why? They created the thing. So the first person who can label is the creator, and the second is the person who is the buyer. I don't know about you guys, but whenever my parents would buy me like a baseball glove or a baseball or a basketball or soccer ball, they would hand me a marker. What would they say? Put your name on it. Why? Because it was mine. I owned it. I could put my name on it. And Jesus understood what so many of us miss, and that is only the creator and only the buyer can put a hashtag on something. And the story ends, and the lady walks away. But that's where our story picks up. Who are you going to believe? Who are you going to believe? This woman had to decide, do I listen to this Jesus character or everybody else? And when you go to school this week, or when you go to school next week, or when you're at your family and hanging out at home, who is the person you listen to? Who are the voices? What are the hashtags that you wear? What are the hashtags you reject? And here's what I don't want you to miss. You are not who others say you are. You are who God says you are. And if you go through the Bible, you'll find all kinds of things where God talks about how you are capable. You are called. You have everything that you need. You are more than a conqueror. You are an overcomer. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Or you can listen to the hashtags of the people who are around you. Who do you listen to? My brother-in-law experienced this several years ago. He has a 1966 Impala, which is this tricked-out classic car, all original, everything. And here's the thing about this car. It is legit. And he decided one day he was going to race my sister across town. She's in a 1987 Honda Accord. He's in this Impala. They race across town. He kills her, gets to the house, waits in the car for her to get home. She pulls into the garage. And because he's a man, he let his car roar. Vroom. But as he let it roar, he heard a cuckoo, cuckoo. And he turned the car off right away. He had some friends come over, check it out, and they said, oh man, bad news. You threw a rod through your engine. And it was going to cost thousands of dollars. So for 10 years, he saved his money so that he could replace the engine in this car. For 10 years, this car sat on jacks and didn't do what cars are supposed to do. Finally, he saves up the money. He takes the car to a specialist in Colorado. He gets there. They look at the car and they say, the engine is perfectly fine in your car. The problem with your car is you blew a $40 water pump. Now, here's the deal. He never took it to a dealership. He never took it to the creator. He just let the people who were around him tell him what was wrong. And because of that, his car did not do what it was supposed to do. And my fear for some of you is that you have walked in here tonight and you believe some hashtags. You believe some lies that aren't true about you, and you're just sitting you're sitting in the garage and you are not doing what God has called you to do. You're not living for the purpose He's called you to live for because you are believing a lie. And that is what is keeping you from becoming a game changer. And my desire is that you would identify what is that word, what are those 2 words, what are those 3 words, what are the things I need to change so that I can make a difference, so that I can change the game. But you have to figure out, who am I going to listen to? Because what I believe determines who I become. Let's bow our heads, close our eyes real quick. Some of you in here tonight, you walked in here and you have bought into some things. You believe that you can't make a difference. Maybe you believe you're too young, or that you're too immature, or that you're just too lazy. There is something that's keeping you from being a game changer, because there was a lot of you at the beginning who didn't raise your hand. My question is what was that thing that is keeping you from being a game changer? What's that thing that is keeping you from listening to what God says about you? What are you going to do to get rid of it? You see, God has a plan for all of us. Plans to prosper us, not to harm us. Plans to give us a hope and a future. And I don't want your life to be stuck in the garage for 10 years only to realize that the thing you're holding on to is a lie. How many would be honest tonight and say, Jeremy, I can think of at least one thing in my mind that's keeping me from doing what God wants me to do? If that's you, I just want you to raise your hand. Say, hey, that's me. I'm not going to point you out, make you dance or sing. I just want to pray for you. God, I pray for these students, and I pray right now for that thing. I pray that you would just show them how to get rid of that so that they can let you move in their life, because you are the greatest game changer. And I pray that you would use them to change the games in their family, in their schools, in their community, on their teams, and that you would get all the glory. With your head still bowed, nobody looking around, I want to talk about another game changer. You know, some of you walk in here tonight, and it's not about, hey, what's that thing that's keeping you from hearing from God? But it's, what's that thing keeping you from connecting with God? The Bible says that because of the things that we've done, every time we mess up, that separates us from God. And that sin is what they call it, means to miss the mark. And the Bible says all of us have sinned, and sin keeps us from connecting with God. So God, because He's so awesome, said, hey, here comes a game changer. I'm going to send my Son to this earth to live a perfect life and to die on a cross so that those who are far from me can be close to me. So those who are disconnected can be connected. So those who are missing out can find the true answers. And for some of you tonight, this is your game-changing moment. Tonight's going to be the night that you are going to say, I want to have a relationship with Christ. I want to give my life to the game changer, and we're going to do that tonight. So here in a couple seconds, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I want you to be bold. I want you to be strong. Do not listen to the enemy who's going to try to tell you, hey, this isn't for you. This is for you. If you do not have a relationship with Christ, tonight is your night. Today is your game changer. Who here would say, that's me. I want to start a relationship with Jesus Christ for the first time right now? Raise your hand.